පමිත පාරමිතා බලේන විද්වංසියෝ කිල කිලේස සමෝහජාලං සේනේව ලන්ද අරහං අරහෝති නාමං වන්දාමි බුද්ධ මමලං අදයේ ඨපෙත්වා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Homage to the Exalted One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. කේවලා හේසා භික්ඛවේ සප්පුරිස භූමි යදිදං කතඤ්ඤුතා කතවේදී සද්ධා මූලිකා සම්බේපි කුසලා ධම්මාති. Venerable Sirs, nuns, friends in the Dhamma, today we have gathered here for the weekly Dhamma program for the monastics. In this discussion, I hope to explain something which are the fundamentals in Buddhism. This is very important. When we see the Buddha's message, from the beginning to end, we should know some doctrines uttered by the Blessed One. There we should know the very primary qualities what we have to cultivate in our spiritual and social life itself. There we can see some qualities. The Buddha says, කේවලා හේසා භික්ඛවේ සප්පුරුෂ භූමි යදිදං කතඤ්ඤුතා කතවේදී. All the good qualities depend on gratitude. Gratitude is the very primary quality that we have to cultivate in our life. Next, Buddha says, saddha mūlikā sabbhepi kusala dhamma. Saddha, or confidence in what the Buddha realized, is the foundation of all the wholesomenesses. These both qualities are very important. In one side, gratitude. The other one is saddha or confidence. When we associate good friends day by day, these qualities gradually should develop in our lives. The more we cultivate these qualities in our lives, the more we have inner courage, inner motivation, and we gradually go forward on the path of happiness and finally liberation. The very first quality is gratitude. කේවලා හේසා භික්ඛවේ සප්පුරුෂ භූමි යදිදං කතඤ්ඤුතා කතවේදී. All the good qualities depend on gratitude. We always seek the qualities or the teachings of the Buddha in order to practice for our liberation or enlightenment. That's good, but we should understand. Before Buddhism, Before cultivating our Buddhist teachings, Buddhism, we should have humanism. Humanism is the foundation of our spiritual path. That is why the Buddha emphasizes the importance of practicing gratitude. Always we should be grateful. Already we have received a lot of things from the society. We have received a lot of facilities. Before we wake up in the morning, the world has prepared a lot of things for us. We should have a very grateful heart. That is very important. Whatever we do as good deeds in our daily life, all the qualities depend on gratitude. Even we wash our physical body, that is also belongs to the gratitude. Even though we do our day-to-day activities, especially our jobs, if we do our jobs righteously, honestly, in the proper time, that is also a place where we show our gratitude. We eat, we do, we receive everything because of our job. We should do it very correctly, honestly, and righteously. The highest place that we show our gratitude in our ordinary life is that paying our gratitude to our parents. That is the highest place in the mundane level that we can pay our gratitude. If our parents are living with us, we should take care of them very well. If they have already passed away, we should practice good deeds, and also we should share that merit with our departed parents too. That is a place where we can show our gratitude. And also, we can pay our gratitude to the Buddha and the Sangha. Since we have received this sublime message because of the Buddha and his noble disciples, that they have been doing a great service for many years. If we are listening to a message of a Buddha every moment, we should be grateful to the Mahasangha. As soon as we are grateful, we are generous. Gratitude and generosity are interrelated. If we are greedy, it means we can practice generosity. We can practice gratitude. The more we are grateful, the more we are generous. The more we are generous, the more we are grateful. These qualities are interrelated. Gratitude and generosity. And also we go forward. We practice discipline in our speech and behavior. When we do something, when we speak something, we think again and again whether it is correct. That belongs to sila or virtue. Especially, the foundation of our virtuous life is that practicing 5 precepts. Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from foolish speech, and also abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs causing heedlessness. These 5 qualities, these are the human qualities that everyone can practice without any barriers. First, gratitude, then generosity, immediately we come to see our virtue, discipline in our speech and behavior. And next, we come to the highest human quality and the greatest meritorious act in the mundane level is that what is the greatest meritorious act in the mundane level uttered by the Supreme Buddha? Metta Bhavana. According to 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, Buddha says very clearly, the greatest meritorious act in the mundane level is that practicing Metta Bhavana, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. When we associate the people, we consider all the people like our children. This is the qualities of the human life. Before we come to our enlightenment path, gratitude, generosity, virtue, and Metta Bhavana. Buddha says very clearly 3 meritorious acts. Mahapunya Sabhai discourse in 𝒮𝓃 Nikaya. Dānañca samcaryanca metta cittañca bhavi. Generosity, samcarya or sila, and metta citta, loving kindness. These 3 are the meritorious deeds in the mundane level that directly help us to develop our happiness in this immediate life, and also those qualities or the meritorious acts directly help us to have a blissful life after we die. These are the human values, and also these qualities directly help us to succeed our next life too. As the result of these qualities, we receive very special benefit in our life. The more we have these qualities, we receive a very special benefit that directly helps us to enter the spiritual life for our liberation. What is that? That is the 𝐾𝐿�යාණ Sampada, good association, noble association. If we have those primary qualities, we meet good association. Not only we meet good association, we can understand the good association. If we don't have those primary qualities, even though we receive good friendship, we are unable to recognize the good association. Always we recite a gatha, Imina punya kammena, mami bala samagamo, satan samagamo hotu yāvanibbāna paccaya. As the result of doing these activities, may receive the good association until I attain enlightenment. This is the wish of our life. Actually, already we have received this benefit and result, but unfortunately, most of us have no real skill in order to recognize this good principle. When we discuss the good association, according to what the Blessed One explains, there are three stages of good association. Kalyana Mittata, Kalyana Sahayata, and also Kalyana Sampavandana. First, we should have good association, who know the Dhamma, who explains the Dhamma. Not only that, Kalyana Sahayata, we should make them friendly. That is also very important. Even though sometimes we have received good friendship, they are not our close friends. If they are not our close friends, they don't explain the message. The more we close to them, the more they explain the Dhamma, what they already know. As a result of this skill, we come to the next step of good association, Kalyana Sampavandana. We pay our attention for what they are saying. These three things of good association are very important on the path of liberation. As a result of this benefit, we receive the message of the Buddha. As the result of the listening to the message of what the Blessed One explained, we cultivate the confidence in what the Buddha taught. Saddha. Saddha Molika 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶 Dhamma. Saddha or confidence is the foundation of all the wholesome activities. What are the wholesome activities? The enlightenment factors. Satipatthana, Indriya Dharma, Bala Dharma, Bojjhanga, Aryaṭṭhanika Magga, fourfold mindfulnesses, 5 spiritual faculties, 7 enlightenment factors, the Noble Eightfold Path. These teachings belong to the liberation. They belong to the enlightenment factors. We receive all the doctrines as the result of cultivating our saddha or confidence based on associating with the good friends. Buddha says, Saddha Molika 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶 Dhamma. Saddha or confidence in what the Blessed One explained is the foundation of all the good qualities, all the wholesome activities. What is the saddha? What is the confidence? Through associating with the good friendship, we understand the way how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. Saddha can be explained in various ways. Sometimes we may think that if we respect the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, if we chant the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, that is saddha. Oh, it is okay. But when we go to the deeper level, saddha means we have confidence in what the Buddha taught. If we have confidence, immediately we come to the next quality, which is virya, energy. Virya or energy or effort explains how much we have confidence. if we have confidence in what the Buddha taught, our entire life is filled with practicing Dhamma. From morning to going to the bed. Even though we are not in the Bhavana hall, always Dhamma is in our heart. How do we cultivate Saddha or confidence? We should understand the clear message of the Buddha. Buddha says very clearly how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. Whenever we experience the world, we can contact the world through our senses. When we contact with the world in the vipaka level, in the result level, we can see a form or a material world. That is the nature of our result level or vipaka mattam. But the very important thing, when we come to understand our experiences that we receive through our senses, the very first experience based on the 5 aggregates have already ceased. When we refer some teachings in Buddhism, it says very clearly, Na pancha viññānehi kiñca dhammam pativijanāti aññātara abhinipātamatta. We are unable to recognize something completely through our 5 consciousnesses, such as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, so on. We usually say that I understand something through eye consciousness. It is true in some levels. In the vipaka level, we have only a very primary perception, primary experience about the form. When we come to understand something based on our 5 consciousnesses, the very first experience has already ceased. We recognize everything through our mind consciousness. Sabbe Dhamma Mano Vijnana Dhatuya Viññeya. All things should be understood through mind consciousness. This moment also like that. When we look at something, we usually think that now I experience, now I understand something in the present moment. Actually, in the present moment, we can contact something. We can hear something. But when we understand it, understanding and hearing are different. Understanding and seeing are different. Understanding and smelling are different. We mostly understand something after the very first experience has already ceased. But our ignorance doesn't accept it. Our ignorance always says that, my friend, don't worry. You understand everything in the present moment while you are experiencing through your 5 consciousnesses. But at that moment, we are on the samudaya anta, the end of arising. The Buddha explains the Dhamma for the getting rid of samudaya anta or passa nirodha, the cessation of contact. The Buddha explains his message for the cessation of 6 senses, salayatana nirodha, බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ සලායතන නිරෝධයට ධර්ම දේශනා කළේ. පස්ස නිරෝධයට ධර්ම දේශනා කළේ. The Buddha explained his message for the getting rid of contact, getting rid of the corner of contact, getting rid of the corner of six senses. Whenever we understand this message, if we are confident in this message, we know very well, whenever our mind depends on the outside material world, it means we have avidya and bhavatanha, ignorance and attachment to the process of becoming. Avidya and bhavatanha are the foundation of all the sufferings. Avidya means not knowing this reality. Bhavatanha, attachment to the process of becoming. It means, in simple, when we experience the world, we think there is a world around us. This is the nature of avidya and bhavatanha. This is true according to the conventional truth based on the mundane level. Having this understanding, we can do some good activities. Punyādi sankhara and ānijādi sankhara. Having this understanding, we can cultivate meritorious mental formations and inevitable meritorious deeds in the mundane level. But we are unable to overcome ignorance, which is the main cause of suffering in this level. That is why we should have next understanding, having the real understanding of how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. If we know that when I recognize something in the world, the material world has already ceased completely, then we see the world 𝐁𝐮𝐝𝐻𝐿𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. We see the world as empty by our wisdom. If we have this understanding, our mind has no space to depend on this material world. If our mind has no space in order to depend in this material world, that is the nature of what we have already overcome suffering, which is decay, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation, grief, pain, so on. That is a very special example we can see in Buddhism. When the sunlight comes from the east direction, if there is no land in the west direction, there is no shadow we can see. If there is no water in the west direction, then we can see a shadow of the sun. Our understanding also like that. As soon as we see something, if we know that the external world, the material world has already ceased, then our mind has no place in order to depend on. There is no place for depending on this world, since we have understood very well that already the material world exists. When we see the Buddha's message, there are some special concepts that we can see. What they are? Uppada Nirodha and Anuppada Nirodha. Uppada Nirodha means the cessation of which is arisen. There is a world. We know this world. The world can be destroyed any time. It is going to decay, sickness, and death. Having this understanding, we can reduce attachment or craving and anger in some levels. This is a discipline of a world that we have already created. You know, before the Bodhisattva did his renunciation, he had realized this nature. You know, the prince of Siddhartha, before he did his renunciation, he saw an old man, sickness person, and dead body. There he had realized Uppada Nirodha, the cessation of which is arisen. Having that understanding, after his renunciation, great renunciation, after he attained Buddhahood, in his first sermon, Buddha says, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶 ධම්මේසු 𝐁𝐿𝒂 ℮ I realized something when I attained Buddhahood which I had never heard. The Buddha says in his first sermon in Dhammaguru Sutta, Buddha says, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶 ධම්මේසු 𝐁𝐿𝒂 ℒ𝒶𝓃, Paññā Uddapādi, Vidya Uddapādi, Āloka Uddapādi. I realized something when I attained Buddhahood that I had never heard earlier. Then we should understand. Jara, Vyādi, Marana, aging, sickness and death, what we know here, actually, the Buddha had realized before he did his great renunciation, before he attained enlightenment. When he attained the Buddhahood, he realized the very special thing which is Anuppada Nirodha, the cessation of which is not arisen. This is the identity of Buddhism. This is the very special thing in Buddhism. Anuppada Nirodha, the cessation of which is not arisen. What is that? As soon as we experience something, we should understand the material world has already ceased. I recognize everything through my mind consciousness. It doesn't mean that there is no material world. Don't misunderstand. We are the beings who have 5 aggregates, 𝒃 In the human realms, we associate with 5 aggregates. We are the beings who have 5 aggregates, 𝒃 When we experience something in the first experience, we contact the world, material world. But always when we understand it, we understand everything through our mind consciousness. This is the place where we should be confident. If we have no this understanding, what happens to us? Avidya pacha sankhara, sankhara pacha vijnana, so on. With the arising of ignorance, mental formations cease, mental formations arise. As a result of arising mental formations based on ignorance, consciousness arises, so on. Finally we go. Bhavapacha jati, jati pacha jara marana soka parideva. With the arising of the process of beginning, birth arises based on ignorance. As a result of arising of birth, all the sufferings automatically arise. This is the Micca Patipada. According to Patipada Sutta, which comes in Magga Samutta in Samutta Nikaya. This is the Micca Patipada. What is the Samma Patipada? What is the right path? Right path is that avidyayatve vasya viraga nirodha, sankhara nirodho, sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho, so on. With the complete cessation of ignorance, mental formations gradually cease, so on. Gradually we go to the end of decay, death, sorrow and lamentation. This is the place where we should be confident in, having this confidence or saddha in what the Buddha taught. Our energy vastly cultivates, develops, increases. Saddha, virya. Our virya or energies shows that how much we have confidence. If we have this confidence, we keep our understanding and practice in the highest level in our day-to-day life. No matter whatever we do all the activities keeping this understanding in our highest level of our mind. This is our spiritual dream. Always we are dreaming, getting rid of suffering. Whenever we are ignorant, we have to face a lot of difficulties and sufferings in our life. Whenever we have this understanding and practice in the maximum level, we are getting rid of suffering. This is our energy. Whenever we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, according to the Mahacatthārithaka Sutta, which comes in Majjhima Nikaya, whatever facts that we practice in the Noble Eightfold Path, we should have some qualities which are Samma Diṭṭhi and Samma Vāyama. When we practice mindfulness based on right understanding and right effort, how do we gain right understanding? Having confidence in what the Buddha taught, based on with the association of good friendship. The more we have good association, the more we listen to Dhamma. The more we listen to Dhamma, the more we are confident in what the Buddha taught, the more we have confidence in what the Buddha explained, the more we have right understanding and right effort. Then we come to sati or mindfulness, which is the main doctrine that we have to practice for liberation. We are aware of our body, feelings, mind, and mind objects. We have come to practice mindfulness, which is the best friend of our spiritual life. When we come to this level, we have already made a refuge within us. Then we don't depend on outside persons and things. Even we don't need to depend on the Buddha or any other physical persons in present. When we come to the real practice of mindfulness, it means we have already created the refuge within us. That is why Buddha says, 𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, or monks, you should dwell in the field of your spiritual father. Dwell in the field of your spiritual father. What is the field of the spiritual father? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the land of the Father. This is our heritage. This is our property. This is our refuge that we receive from our spiritual Father, who is the Supreme Buddha. Whenever we are mindful, we have gained a refuge within us, since Buddha and the noble Sangha is nearby. Sati, the spiritual faculty of sati or mindfulness. The more we practice sati, the more we come to concentration samadhi. When we come to this level, we can see the results of the qualities of the Dhamma. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 Dhammo 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, visible results immediately effective. When we come to this level, our inner motivation, inner happiness gradually increases. We go on this path having rapture and happiness. Rapture or happiness is not the end of the path or result, but even on the path. When we go for a trip or journey with 100 miles, as soon as we come to and drive our car, we are always imagining 100 miles. Now 95, 90, 85, always we are thinking the destination, but we lose the enjoyment of seeing around the way. While you are driving, you pass very beautiful places, forests, waterfalls, rivers. You don't enjoy the environment that you pass. We are also like that. While we are going to the destination of our spiritual path, on the way, we can see a lot of results, spiritual results. then we can enjoy, we can cultivate our inner peace, rapture, and happiness, seeing the results of the Dhamma. The more we practice Dhamma, the more we practice mindfulness. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we reduce defilements from our mind. We purify mind from our minds. As a result of this path, we cultivate our inner peace. As a result of reducing nivarana, we can develop our jhana facts, the facts of jhana, such as piti, sukha, ekaggata, so on. Rapture, happiness, stillness. These are the results that we receive as the result of practicing samatha. That is not the final result. In the samadhi level, samatha level, the level of concentration, we can come to equanimity as a fact of the jhana. That upekha or equanimity depends on the mundane level, which consists with ignorance. There is a world, I dwell equanimously. That is the upada nirodha, the cessation of which is arisen. We have to pass this result. Then we come to next level of our equanimity, sati sambojjhanga, dhammamigga sambojjhanga. As a result of practicing the 7 enlightenment factors, we come to the real equanimity, upekha sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of equanimity, as a result of coming to the panya of wisdom. There we have clearly understood the real nature of our life. Suññato loka ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, we have understood the world as empty. There we can change the entire world, changing our perception. When we come to this level, we don't need to change anything in the outside material world. If a person wants to live 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, if a person wants to dwell perceiving repulsive in the unrepulsive, he can dwell perceiving the repulsive therein. If a person wants to 𝒮𝓃 if a person wants to dwell perceiving unrepulsive in the repulsive, he can dwell perceiving unrepulsive therein. If a person wants to dwell perceiving repulsive in the unrepulsive and the repulsive, he can dwell therein. If a person wants to dwell perceiving unrepulsive in the repulsive and the unrepulsive, he can dwell as he is. Not only that, very interesting thing. If he wants to dwell equanimously, avoiding completely the repulsive and the unrepulsive, he can dwell what he likes. This is the wonder of practicing Dhamma. Actually, this is the real experience of the Arhat. We also can get some results in some levels. how nice the world, how wonderful the world is. In the mundane level, we always going to change the outside material world of persons. We can never complete it until we die. But the very interesting thing, as a result of cultivating our wisdom to the maximum level, reducing ignorance, we can completely change the world just changing our perception. Since we are fully mindful and wise, there we can see the result. We can see the cessation of mentality and corporeality. 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝓶 wherever corporeality and mentality completely cease. This is the place where we have liberated. Still now, this moment also mentality and corporeality completely cease. But in our ignorant world, hasn't ceased it yet. Since we are in the corner of contact, spasa samudaya. As soon as we remember a person or some experience, we think everything depending on the material world. That sounds that we depend on the ignorance in the samudayanta, or the corner of arising. If one day we can overcome this ignorance and completely live in mindfulness and wisdom, this is the place where we can liberate from all sufferings. As the result of saddha or confidence based on kalyana mitra, we cultivated energy, mindfulness, samatha concentration, and finally wisdom. These are the 5 spiritual faculties. They afflict gradually until baladharma, the powers, spiritual faculties, and marganga, the facts of the Noble Eightfold Path. Finally, we are completely in concentration and wisdom, reflect no impermanence. We start this Buddhist path with the normal human qualities, especially based on gratitude. The more we have gratitude, the more we are generous. The more we are generous, we practice sila and metta bhavana. As a result of these human qualities, we need good association and we have skills in order to recognize the good friendship. We make them friendly and we have attention for what they say, listening to them. By listening them, we gain saddha. Having saddha or confidence, we go on the path of liberation. Okay, dear Venerable says, nice friends in the Dhamma. This is the Buddhist path in short and simple. Let's try to cultivate our Dhamma understanding, and also we should apply it to our life in our day-to-day practice. The more we practice Dhamma, the more we are happier. This is a very peaceful, happy life given by the Buddha with the Dhamma. If you have to ask any question, you have time. On behalf of other people, you can ask. I think you know everything. On behalf of other people, you can ask something.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for deep explanation and preaching. We mentioned about two sides. It's the partner order and the partner order. As you mentioned, partner order is significant important, and you can explain these results. Give some examples.
Yes, yes, that is very good question, Bhante. That is why I gave the example. Before Buddha did his renunciation, he saw the, Satar Piranimiti, the dead person, old person, and sick person. Buddha saw there before he attained and he became a monk. There, Buddha realized aging, changing. The changing and impermanence are different. Changing can be realized by anyone. Even scientists, they can see the change in dividing atom. Every moment, the material things change. That is the nature of the material world. They understand the change in which is already arisen. There is something in the outside world. It is changing. We don't need a Buddha to understand this thing. This is the changing. This is Viparinama. In Pali, Viparinama can be seen by anyone. But the impermanence, anicca, has a deep meaning. It based on ahutva sambhutam uttana bhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. This is the foundation of impermanence, anicca, what the Buddha taught. What is that? The experience that we receive in this moment arises at the moment with the conditions. The present experience didn't come to present from the past. This present experience will not go to future from the present. But the previous experience influences the present moment. The present moment influences the next moment. But nothing goes from here to there. For an example, when I do this sound arises at the moment. This sound didn't come to present from the past. Because of my fingers, because of my effort, because of my ears, ear consciousness, these things arise at the moment with the conditions. Because of these conditions and causes, this sound arises. But very important thing, even though this sound arises because of these conditions, this sound doesn't belong to any condition or cause. That is the very important thing. In the mundane level, creating a world, upada nirodha, the cessation of which is arisen, we combine this result for the people to the persons or things. Since already we have created the world. Having created the material world, we can see some changing and destroying or decay. That understanding may help us to come to the real Dhamma, but that understanding doesn't directly help us to reduce our ignorance or bhavadhamma. That understanding helps us to overcome very big attachment or greed and anger or reduce hindrances. But that understanding doesn't directly help us to overcome the ignorance which is the main cause of suffering. In order to overcome ignorance and bhavadhamma, the attachment to the process of becoming, we have to come to the anupada nirodha. It means when we see the world, it means we understand the world. When we understand the world, material world has completely ceased. Not only that, at the moment, 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, at that immediate moment, we reflect on impermanence, even our mind objects and mind consciousness too. Sometimes we may think that outside material world everything has ceased, but still I have my mind. It is permanent. Actually, that's also a misunderstanding. That is why at the same time, 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. Firstly, 𝒮𝓾 Firstly, as the result of concentration, we release our mind from the world which consists with the four fundamental elements: solidity, fluidity, heat and motion. Next, we come to release from even our mental formations, mind consciousness too, reflecting on impermanence of arising and ceasing of mind, mental objects and mind consciousness too. At the same time, we release from the corporeality and mentality as well. That is the 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝑎𝑑 Nirodha, the cessation of which is not arisen. This is the unique in Buddhism. With this understanding, when someone explains something, we should be clever to understand whether this person explains the Upada Nirodha or Anupada Nirodha. This is the place where we should recognize the real speaker according to Dhammakatika Sutta. There is a discourse named Dhammakatika. The Buddha says how we recognize the real Dhamma speaker. He who explains the path of the cessation from Dharma Marana is the person who is the real speaker of Dhamma. We can be speakers, but it is very difficult to become the Dhamma speakers. The Dhamma speaker means who introduces the cessation of decay, sickness, death, sorrow and limitation. For that we have to release from the outside material world. At the same time, we have to release our mind from even our mental formations too. For that, I wish you all the best by the power of the spirituality that we accrue through listening to the Buddha's message. May you be well, happy and peaceful. May all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkhaṃ pantāca nirdukkhaṃ, bhayaṃ pantāca nirbhayaṃ, sokaṃ pantāca nissokaṃ, hontu sabbe pipānino. May all beings be free from suffering and fear. May they attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.